All right, let's get to it. Hello, this is BearlythereManga, and this is where I normally review and give my thoughts on certain mangas. I hope y'all are enjoying it. For those who are in the Philippines, I see a lot of y'all loving it, so hope I keep on seeing y'all's like and comments down below. But let's jump into today's manga, and today's manga is misskobayashidragonmaid, Dragon's Maid, and the Chrome edition or chromatic editions. So there's two of these little babies right here, but this manga right here, for those who not know, if you've been living in the shelf, there's an anime already out of these. So if you're not into the, the written version of it, you can always watch the anime version. Though I would not suggest watching. Lotus, come on now. I would not suggest watching the dub version unless you want some mistranslations. Though I don't know if the translations are misdone in this as well, or in the actual versions. But fair warning, there is some changes to meanings and words in the dubbed version or the maybe even translation version. So if you don't want to do that, fair warning, but it's still a great anime now, and manga. Now this manga is about a girl named, sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, Kobayashi. I'm not trying to butcher her name on purpose, I promise you, but sorry, I don't speak, or I'm not fluent in Japanese. She is a blue collar, black collar businesswoman, or works in an office. And one day she goes out and have a little drink with her friends and coworkers, and afterwards she leaves fully intoxicated and walks through the park and meets a dragon of all things laying in the park, and she lets out all of her emotions and feelings and about her hobbies of loving maids and loving the booze a little too much, and befriends the dragons to go home that night and to wake up someone knocking at her door to find the ever charming loving dragon girl sitting there saying that she's there to be her maid. Now this girl's name is Toru, and she's the dragon she met from last night, and now she wants to be this woman's maid, and she doesn't turn her down. She just kind of just lets her right on in. And while she's trying to sort out why is this dragon now there in the shape of a girl, this dragon is now infatuated or very much in love with the main character. Then again, she is a dragon. Now, on the way, several of the other dragons from the other universe, apparently they came from a different world. It's isekai in the reverse. The main two characters are the woman and this character, but several other dragons join in with them, and this is one of them right here. A lot of fan favorites, and a few of them come over to the world with her, and some of them try to bring her back, and along the while, they all learn to start loving humans, and loving the new world and the fantastic new view of them. While these things are very dangerous and sometimes very violent creatures, all think that playing around is blowing up stuff. Trust me, if you watch the anime or read the manga, their playing is a little severe and very, very wow, but it's actually great work. It's beautiful work. Now, it's a very charming, very, very funny in some regards. It has its humor. It has this, I wouldn't say romance. Romance is not really all there. It's more like just trying to teach these dragons and how to befriend them, and how all of them have their own little quirks. Like this one male dragon that is a deep, dark, and brewing, and he likes video games and collecting, but he doesn't like losing. Very much hardcore, and he befriends another human, a dorky fellow. We got the young little girl that wants to go to school, became friends with some of the young girls there, or the kindergartens there. Then we have the very voluptuous character named Luca, which she befriends a different household with a young boy, and that part gets a little weird. Just gonna put it out there. So fair warning, this isn't really meant for everybody, but it is 15 plus. So yeah, the manga doesn't hold back a lot of stuff. There's not like too much promiscuous things in here. Like, it's not supposed to be perverse, it's supposed to be more humorous and funny, but the anime is a lot more tamed, I would say, a lot of ways, but this thing goes places. And if you're not comfortable with your well, pretty much your preteens, I wouldn't suggest having them read this. It's more for more older people. Let's just put it like that they can see past the craziness that this manga can sometimes come about. Now, let's just jump right into it. I have a new thing called new scoring system where I call casts, C-A-S-T, casts, which would be characters, art, story, and transformation. This is my new scoring system. I won't show this every single time, but this just to let everybody know this is how we scoring thing from now on. So first thing we're gonna start off with characters. Now, when I say about characters, I mostly mean character growth or whatever. Character growth, this is a very nice characters. It's a wide assortment of them. It hits all kinds of spectrums. There's nothing really too cringy in the characters. If it's a new character, though the art design for the characters are a little bit iffy at times. I'm just gonna put it out there, honestly. But the character growth is very nice. You can simply see the bit of bonding over time. Characters are learning about the characters, especially the main character, Kobayashi. She's getting a little more, familiar with herself. She's getting a little more open with herself over time. The main dragon characters, a lot of them are learning about the human world and the befriending people and learning things. This is very good character growth. And while there's not very much a main plot or story that goes from one episode to next episode, it kind of has a Family Guy kind of vibe where every single character is almost not really reset, but you can definitely see some characters in each episode, which is its own almost sometimes its full point of the episode is its full story, and then goes on to the next one. So that is definitely a Family Guy kind of view, but there is growth in the characters, and they're starting to learn bond with each other, bond with other humans, and learn more about this world that they all isekai'd pretty much over from a magical world over to the human world, our world. So characters growth, I would give this one a solid, let's say 8.5. It's a decent character growth, but it's not so in depth because there's so many characters to go through, so many to work through, and that all of them are almost their own story a lot of times. They even have so far, there's already like 3 or 4 different books of this because each character has their own little story to go about. And where was I? Sorry, cat knocked over something. So yeah, each character almost has their own book. They're starting a book for just her alone. We got another book for, let me see, a book just for all the dragons pretty much. We got a book for Ilma, and then we got a book for Kana, which is this little girl right here. We got a book for, where's the other one? Luca, we got a book for her. So they're starting to slowly make books just for these characters by themselves because each one of them have their own little story and their own growth, but you're learning of each character throughout the book, so that is very much enjoyable, and I'm glad they decided to expand it by letting the characters have their own shine in the light, or whatever the word for it, their own day in the sun. Anyway, so now art is a very nice, it has a bit of its own styling for this. It's very subtle. Now, since this version of it by the Kobayashi Naja, I am sorry, I'm probably butchering this name. The director or the story writer and the artist for this decided to do this version, which is all chrome, which is all colored. Normally, I like my stuff to be a little bit more of a black and white kind of vibe going on, but these are a special edition versions, so they decided to do color versions. Now, I prefer black and white in my mangas, but I said, why not? These are cool. These are a little bit collector editions, and I got one person to sign in it, but I'm not gonna show up that page because that page is totally inappropriate. And like I said before, I'm trying to get that one page I just saw hit. There it is. Yeah, it goes places. Wow. So, yeah, again, it's not meant for kids. I wouldn't have your kids read this. Do not have kids read this. The artist is not afraid to show off some titty-glows. That's all we're saying. It goes there, and the art it's very nice. It's very eye-catching, but it has its own art style to it, too. This person is definitely going off the beaten trail and bringing their own look to it, but at the same time, it still feels very much like an anime. I think it's beautiful work. I give it, also I said I get an 8.5 of this one. It's not that it's bad, it's just sometimes it is very gorgeous, and sometimes it is very bland. I just literally picked up a part right here, it's just kind of like, it's not as pretty, right? It's not as detailed and going crazy with it. It's It's a very just it's a simple art style. It's very probably very easy to draw and be consistent with it. But you're not gonna draw something like later on we're gonna talk about another manga. You're not gonna draw something that's an art piece on every single page. You're gonna vary in art style throughout it because it has a little bit more humor to it, so therefore it has a little bit more cartoonish at times or goofy art design rather than serious all the time. So it varies. Now, next part, the story. Now, the story, like I said earlier, is a bit of there is a growth, there is not a main story though. So each episode or each manga is almost like 3 or 4 different stories in one book. Though you know that you see the progression of time passing in some way or regards, whether through the people's connection with each other or fondness or new characters being implemented or imp- implemented into the story, there is a growth. There is a showing of there is new things happening in the world. But each episode is its own story, beginning and end a lot of times. So each manga is the same thing where it goes through several different stories throughout one and then we'll end that story and go off to the next one. So that way, I don't really this one, I have to give it a 7, mostly because a straight 7. I would almost give it, dare say, give it a 6. It's not because it's bad. I just prefer, me personally, there be a overall story, and we get to the story, right? And not just about growth or being episodic. I'm not like that's why I don't very much care for Family Guy myself because, well, I feel like it's there's never really a overall story. There's just story to story to story to story to story to story to story, and it's just going. And while you're seeing character growth, there's not really an end point to. You can probably continue the story on just like Family Guy for years and keep on changing things and making story changes and new stories. It will probably never end if this artist had their way. Um, Me, I'd like to have a plot throughout the entire thing, trying to have a central goal or something like that. It doesn't make it bad, but it definitely gives you that story, that Family Guy or the Simpson vibes, where if you're into that kind of things, a bunch of short stories, be my guest. But for me, I'd give it a 7, almost a 6, but I'm giving it a 7 because I still enjoyed it enough to, well, buy the merchandise, watch the show, and subbed and dubbed. I gotta like it for something, right? So take that as you will, right? All right, now last one, transformative. Now, this one is a new one I'm throwing into the things, the whole cast thing, because I wanted to say whether or not this manga, for any other mangas out there or animes out there that just have correspondence with their mangas, is this one breaking the mold? Is this one transforming what it is essentially been a main staple of that genre or otherwise? And this was kind of like a manga of a Maid manga or a episodic, let's like say Chin Chan, for those who know what Chin Chan is, has that same vibe of Chin Chan where it's like episode to episode. It has its humor, has its place, and has multiple characters. Now for this one, I'm gonna give it a score for, and I'll tell you why of this. I would say I'll give the score a 5 when it comes to transformative. Now, why that low? Because I've seen shows like this, like from Chin Chan, right? It is the same formula. There's not really changing it. Now, there is one aspect or maybe 2 aspects that are a little bit different. And I don't really feel like this manga is really breaking that mold, right? It's kind of having that at times cookie cutter vibes, right? And I would suggest, if you want to know why I say cookie cutter, because some characters are can be almost direct spin-offs of other characters in other mangas, and how they act and how they respond crazy, crazy, emo, dorky, maid loving. It's not really changing how I feel that I've seen other animes in. And I can't say this is not still worth a read, right? If you have that central taste and you're okay with the kind of like the same thing in your mangas, right? Nothing changes. Um, that's for me, like isekais. I can watch several different isekais and I'm okay with it. Not always breaking the mold, but there's sometimes some isekais are just wow, you couldn't change but like one or maybe two aspects of it and everything else is the same, it gets really old real quick, just like I'm sure episodic mangas and the swords are the same. It gets boring, and maybe why I did very much like that myself because it's not what I'm into. Um, and I don't really feel like this broke the mode. Now, what got a lot of people's attention is, well, probably some of the characters in here are very eye-catching and alluring. Um, and it's Debbie got some drama behind it too, so that can always help it. It caught people's attention. It caught my attention. I still watched it. I still enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, it's not my favorite. I didn't really feel like it was anything really new. I really like Chit Chan though. Thought that show was great, hilarious in my opinion. But it goes places too. So there it is. That's my cast. Now overall, now let me try to figure this out myself. So 8.5, 8.5, a 7, and then a 5. 7.5, I guess. Overall score 7.45 for this cast. I get this cast score a 7.5. It's not that it's bad. It's just it's good for what it is. It's nice. It's a good read for what it is. But it isn't going to be anything anyone's like overall for the rest of their life the favorite of all favorites. Like this is going to be the best of all. This is a good comfort anime, right? It's a good comfort, not forgettable, but it's also I've seen stuff like this before. So, or I felt like I've seen stuff like this before. Maybe because I'm from America, I've seen a lot of Simpsons, I've seen a lot of Family Guys, so I've seen this kind of formula a lot in America's cartoonish ways, or what you would call it. But to me, this is just Japanese version of that, and I can still enjoy it. But it's overall, it's good. It's a good watch or a good read if you're whatever you like your formula. So that's it. Of course, these versions of it, by the way, were like $17 for these versions. So you don't have to get the color version. I just thought these were cool, little things. I got these actually on sale at the time I bought them, so I can't remember how they were. But on the time they were first released, I'm sure they were a little bit more expensive. And you probably would just want to get the black and white version. You'll still get the same content. You won't be missing anything unless you're one of the people out there just like prefer your stuff in color, which again, I don't really care for it, but they're collector editions. So I gotta say something about I got collector editions of these things. So I hope y'all enjoy that. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all. Bye.